Chapter 2178, The Song Yuan Clan's Legacy, is really great. Laugh. The silver box instantly disintegrated in midair, followed by a burst of dazzling light. This light suddenly made Zhenglu stop his movements, and he felt very uncomfortable. The dazzling light is as warm as the sun's rays. However, the yellow-white warm light alone was not enough to cause Zhenglu to react in this way. What really disgusts and fears Zhenglu, or the entire lizardman race, is ultraviolet rays. They once lived on the surface, but after billions of years of escaping into the earth, their bodies had long since become unadapted to the surface environment. Whether it is the relatively high concentration of oxygen in the environment or the ultraviolet rays that burn their skin like flames, they will feel extremely uncomfortable. It's like putting a person in the crater of a volcano. What Zhang Yi specially prepared for Zhenglu today was this kind of super strong ultraviolet light source. Its ultraviolet intensity is tens of thousands times that of sunlight. Not to mention Zhenglu. Even if he himself was not wearing any protective gear, he would probably suffer from genetic mutation and skin cancer all over his body if he was shot so hard. Zhenglu's body was so strong that it would not be damaged by the irradiation of this light beam, but the genetic discomfort caused changes in his dark blue skin. Although we can bear it, it does not mean that we can ignore it. His momentary distraction gave Zhang Yi an opportunity. This time, Zhang Yi did not choose to fight from a long distance because long-range attack methods could not cause effective damage to Zhenglu, let alone achieve his goal. Holding Ling's huge ice dragon sword in both hands, Zhang Yi closed the distance directly. The second hand of time predicts all of Zhenglu's movements. When two masters fight, any moment of distraction can be fatal. Zhang Yi seized the opportunity at this moment. The energy stored in Lingji's body flowed along his arm to the ice dragon sword, and he chopped it down fiercely at Zhenglu's neck. The blue light seemed to purify the world, like an extremely cold snowstorm in an icy world. It was so fast that it was unimaginable, and so sharp that goosebumps appeared on Zhenglu's skin. Ah, Zhenglu is still Zhenglu after all. Although the long sword was already approaching him when he reacted, his reaction speed was ultimately not comparable to Zhang Yi's. So he simply swung with his left arm. He didn't even need to use any weapons, and his arm just held the ice dragon sword. Ping! The ice dragon sword slashed on Zhenglu's arm, and it was like hitting a diamond, making a sound of metal colliding. Zhang Yi saw some broken things flying out. They were the dark green scales on Zhenglu's body. It's so hard. Zhang Yi couldn't help but feel emotional and a little regretful. He originally thought that this attack could at least have a certain effect, at least injuring Zhenglu. What a pity. Zhenglu, who is at the night level, is indeed a terrifying opponent. Zhenglu used his backhand to knock Zhang Yi away and was about to launch a virtual destiny attack with his right hand. Zhang Yi quickly carved out a series of dimensional string solutions in the void with one hand to eliminate his hasty attack. In just a few simple fights, no mistakes can be made, otherwise you may face death. And this was when Zhang Yi was fully prepared and Zhenglu was caught off guard in the battle. If a war breaks out when information and intelligence are equal, Zhang Yi dare not imagine the consequences. It doesn't matter. I still have many opportunities. In Zhang Yi's alien space, many such light sources were prepared for this battle. Not many, just tens of thousands. The opponent is strong, but he is also well prepared. After the initial trial period, a fierce battle will be waiting for them. Zhang Yi was not in a hurry at all. The longer the delay, the more advantageous it will be for the Huaxiu National Coalition forces on the battlefield below. In the east city of the Wulwan Empire, the simultaneous firing of 12 super-large mechanical life forms gave people the impression that they were about to overturn the entire city. The violent shaking of the earth was like adding insult to injury for the people in Dongcheng district. This battle was too hasty, and internal and external troubles broke out at the same time. They had to temporarily give up saving people. The surviving soldiers rushed to the top of the city under the leadership of the alien generals. The East District Garrison Commander, Bang, shouted to everyone through the communication equipment, They can't break through our defenses. Troops from other districts have come to support us, and our Grand Marshal is also fighting the enemy. As long as we delay their reinforcements, this battle will surely be won. Now, rush forward with me, and hold on. The foreigners and soldiers in the city were in great confusion, but fortunately, the Wulwan Empire's defense never relied on soldiers. The Sky Iron Curtain itself possesses terrifying defensive capabilities. No, it's not just defense. After enduring the attack, the Iron Curtain in the sky immediately began to accumulate strength, and the deep blue energy fluctuations converged at one point above the huge Iron Curtain. Like a solar flare, a colorful attack was launched at the super-large mechanical life form camp in front. Boom! The sturdy energy cannon pierced the sky and headed straight for the tallest, super-large mechanical life form that had been strengthened by Xiao Lai. However, at this moment, those super-large mechanical life forms all made the same action, which was to root themselves firmly in the ground and protect the core head-like area with their arms. Boom! When the counterattack of the Sky Iron Curtain was about to hit the super-large mechanical life form, it was suddenly blocked by a transparent barrier in midair. It turned out to be 12 super-large mechanical life forms that jointly activated their energy protection field. The technological level of the Wulwan Empire is indeed very high, but that is only relative to the 6th generation of human civilization. If compared with the Zongyuan civilization, the gap is not small. This powerful attack was unable to break the defenses of the 12 super-large mechanical life forms. They are steel siege beasts and also a huge city wall. The temporary command center is behind the city wall. Liu Karen is driving a giant snowy owl. Yang Xinxin and others, as well as Brian and Professor Da Vinci, are all in this area. They watched the scene with their own eyes and were all shocked. Professor Da Vinci narrowed his eyes. As a world-leading scientist, he thought that Columbia's technological level was unmatched. Unexpectedly, the power displayed by Huashu Kingdom is even more astonishing. These are the inheritances from the Zongyuan clan, right? Professor Da Vinci said to Yang Xinxin. Isn't this obvious? Yang Xinxin said lightly. Chapter 2179 Yang Xinxin's War Plan. Professor Da Vinci continued to stare ahead. How could this be a siege? It was clearly a wall erected outside the enemy's walls, a wall of their own, with both sides attacking each other, as expected of chaos. Because in this world, there is probably no one who can move so many bulky, super-large mechanical life forms back to the country intactly as easily as he can. Columbia couldn't do that either. In order to dispose of the spoils of war, they threw away most of the mechanical life forms and only retained a part of the core. After all, it is extremely difficult to transport the extremely heavy war beasts from the vast ice and snow land of Fremons to the border and then send them back to the country by warship. Columbia lags far behind Huashu Kingdom in the research of mechanical life forms. You're truly well prepared. It seems you've already figured out a way to break through the Wulwan Empire's energy shield. The only regret is that we didn't detonate the death god of love in the central region of the Wulwan Empire. The three-dimensional image of the entire Wulwan Empire was now displayed in front of Yang Xinxin like a huge sand table. It clearly shows that the 4 outer cities of the empire have turned into a sea of red, and only the central imperial city area remains intact. After hearing this, Yang Xinxin curled the corners of her mouth. How could it be? Everything is going according to plan. Professor Da Vinci narrowed his eyes and asked in confusion, "What other plans do you have?" At this point, Yang Xinxin no longer hid the truth from Da Vinci. She pointed at the three-dimensional sand table and said, "Before launching this war, we had already thoroughly investigated the entire Wulwan Empire's defense system. The outermost energy shield, Iron Curtain of the Sky, is the first one. Its power cannot be underestimated, but we have found a way to break through it. The second path is a battle group composed of lizardmen troops and war weapons. So there will be a very brutal fight next. As for the third one," there was a dangerous glint in her eyes, and her voice became much deeper. "It is a means of mutual destruction. As soon as these words were spoken, Professor Da Vinci and Brian's expressions changed. What does this mean? Yang Xinshin explained. The Wulwan clan has existed in the underground world for a long time. They have always been in crisis, so they made a terrible decision. She moved her fingers across the sand table. Beneath this land lies a vast system of destructive weapons. Once the Wulwan Empire is invaded and faces a crisis of national extinction, the royal family will activate this system. By then, all living beings in this country will suffer a devastating blow. Professor Da Vinci's pupils shrank. Destroy the entire empire? How cruel! But are there really weapons capable of doing that? This is not as simple as destroying a city. Even the most powerful god of death of love in human history cannot destroy a small or medium-sized city. What's more, the three-dimensional space of the Wulwan Empire is as large as a small province of the Huashu Kingdom. Yang Xinshin explained calmly. Although destroying the entire empire is a bit exaggerated, it is still possible to destroy all important resources and inflict maximum casualties on the enemy. This is not the result we wanted to see. After all, we put so much effort into launching this war, and we need to use the resources of the Wulwan Empire to make up for our losses. Yang Xinshin looked at Brian and Professor Da Vinci. So, after we break through the Iron Curtain, please follow me to the central area of the Wulwan Empire. Help me control this self-destruct system. Professor Da Vinci laughed. That sounds like a really good game. Very exciting. Okay, I accept it. After all, in large-scale wars, high-level Inhumans are responsible for beheading, not charging into the front lines of the battlefield. The matter was happily decided. But he gazed at the battlefield through the transparent window. The vast blue sky across from him obscured the Wulwan Empire. Although it could be shaken, it did not seem to have suffered any damage. The Wulwan Empire's eons of history was no joke. The Iron Curtain of the sky has protected them many times and resisted the invasion of multiple civilizations. How exactly do you intend to break it? Professor Da Vinci's eyes were solemn, and he thought to himself, even Colombia's most advanced city defense cannons may not be able to penetrate this layer of defense. Don't worry, said Lu Karen. We will find a way. After she finished speaking, she stood up and waved to Yang Xinshin and others. You guys stay here first. I'm going to the battlefield first. Everyone gave her a thumbs up and said, Come on. The siege is depending on you. Brian and Professor Da Vinci also watched her leave. Lu Karen, wearing a snow-white armor, left the giant snowy owl. After a while, a huge roar suddenly came from the battlefield. The lizardmen soldiers who were originally on the city wall, swearing to defend the East City to the death, suddenly found that the row of huge and super-large life forms slowly made way for them. Boom! A huge roar came from the air in the distance. Then, in the darkness, an extremely huge, oppressive body like a dragon slowly broke through the darkness and appeared in front of everyone. It was an indescribable behemoth, its bow alone carrying an extremely oppressive feeling, its enormous size and height comparable to those of super-large mechanical life forms. But the most terrifying thing was its gigantic body that continuously emerged from the darkness. An unimaginable super battleship, many times larger than the world's largest aircraft carrier, appeared in front of the battle formation. The Songyuan clan's super battleship, Home, appeared on the human battlefield for the first time. What the hell is that? A ship. The East District Garrison Commander, Bang, felt that the situation was not good. With the level of human technological civilization, it is impossible to create such a thing. Could this also be obtained from the Songyuan clan? Lu Karen has entered the control room of Hope. Without a word, she directly activated the Hope's main gun. On top of the battleship, there was an object like a huge red crystal, as if it was embedded in the ship. It had a polyhedron shape on it, and from a distance it looked like a huge polyhedron ruby. However, as the Hope's core furnace began to gather energy, waves of terrifying energy quickly gathered towards the main gun crystal. Red energy light waves were flowing, and because the energy field was too strong, the surrounding light was severely distorted. Stay with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.